shattering all barriers. When we embrace equity, we embrace diversity and we embrace inclusion. We embrace equity to forge harmony and unity and to help drive success for all. Equality is the goal and equity is the means to get there. Through the process of equity, we can reach equality. As we commemorate International Women's Day, let's resolve to build a society where women are respected, cherished, and afforded the same opportunities as men. Together, we can change the things. I would like to also say CMRC for more than 20 years. Her role in anti-development projects to enhance the
allowing to see so many ladies and gentlemen here this morning. So good morning, everyone. Let me also start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land that we are meeting on, the Darug people, and to express my respect to the elders past, present, and emerging. It is great to be here to celebrate International Women's Day 2023 and Harmony Day or Harmony Forum. So today's forum is a forum with a difference. I would like to also acknowledge, it gives me a great pleasure to acknowledge the presence of the Shire Council Mayor here and their intimate partners or other family members. This means 11 minutes, every 11 minutes, a woman or a girl is killed in her own home. In Australia, the gender pay gap is still almost 23% and hasn't shifted that much. Only 22% of CEOs are women, talking about Australia. Women still contribute almost 70% more towards unpaid household labor or work and family care. And I'm sure to tell that my husband every day, not every day, but every week, to make sure that he knows that women in general contribute a lot more towards household duties and family care. But let's not feel overwhelmed today with the statistics and numbers and how bad the situation is and how far we still have to go. Let's focus on how far we have come and what we are going to do better. This is what this forum today is about learning ways in which we all as a society can embrace equity and live in harmony. To embrace equity, we must recognize and celebrate progress. At the same time, we must continue to create the systemic, economic, social, and cultural conditions for women to feel safe and contribute equally. We need to do this for gender parity, for human rights, and for social justice. Women can champion change. And there are so many examples of this. We are standing here today because of all the work that our predecessors have done. We have grown together, and together we still keep on growing and grow each other. As you know, for the past 7-8 years, minus the pandemic years, CMRC has run the Inspiring Change Conference, Inspiring Change Women's Conference. Hundreds of women left that conference feeling empowered and made a decision to change an area in their lives.
Thank you, Mansi, for that very kind introduction, and welcome to everyone here for this Living in Harmony Forum for International Women's Day. Can I just wish all of the women here happy International Women's Day for yesterday, and this week we've got obviously an incredible amount of events in the hills, which is absolutely fantastic. Can I firstly acknowledge the guests here today? So I know Melissa Montero can't be here, and our thoughts and prayers with her, but Mansi, Bhatia and Aurelia Rahman and all the Community Migrant Resource Centre team, thank you so much. Our guest speakers today, Darren Batchai and Zakia Hussain, thank you for being here. The panel speakers, we've got councillors, we've got Councillor Jessica Brazier and Councillor Frank Damasio. I know the Deputy Mayor, Mark Hodges, is on the way as well. I also wanted to acknowledge Mercedes Durante, who was our Citizen of the Year last year in the Hills as well, and each and every one of you here today for being here for this occasion. I want to particularly thank Community Migrant Resource Centre for working with Council to put today's event on. We're very thankful for the very hard amount of work we've done for this event, but also for the whole Hills and Western Sydney community as a whole. Over the last 15 years, Community Migrant Resource Centre has worked very hard to, with our residents and residents across Western Sydney with their settlement journeys. And you've got such a great connection with everyone deserves an equal opportunity to succeed and reach their fullest potential. And it is unfortunately the case that there are still so many areas in which there is incredible gender disparity, and that's why we need events like today, so we can identify those barriers, find those roadblocks, and we can work together to smash through them, because every woman, every person deserves the equal opportunity to reach their fullest potential. As a council celebrating International
Living in harmony, and when you think about that, actually it brings all this in our mind. You can think about all these things. And if you have any question, please send this question to me.
Thank you, Mansi, for that kind introductions. It's fantastic to be here and a privilege to be asked to come and speak to you about diversity and harmony in the community and what the police are doing to connect with the community and work together. And we really do have a diverse community here in the Hills. It's a real melting pot and we're so much richer for it. I have to say that the role of policing is no longer just policing. It's also about engaging and working together with the community through building trust, respect, to work together to form those partnerships to be the most effective that we can be in all aspects, whether it's mental health, domestic violence, or any other crime that we come across. There's a large Indigenous population and island population out there. About 2 weeks ago, we went to a smoking ceremony with a number of elders, and Mount Druitt Police are doing wonderful things with the community out there. So we went to the smoking ceremony, and he actually took part in that ceremony there. They invited him up, and he took part in that ceremony.
Our speaker number 1 is Pankaj Upadhayay. He is the founder-owner at Euphony Films Australia, which is a multiple award-winning independent filmmaker, poet, author, voice-over artist, and a management professional. Pankaj recently co-produced, co-wrote, filmed, and edited 2 anti-dowry awareness short films for New South Wales Police, and has produced and directed several other community-themed popular short films. He's currently directing his short film series Braham, a collection of mystery short stories centered on karmic redemption. Our next speaker, can we start getting our speakers on the stage as well, please? Our next speaker is Anna Ruth. Anna Ruth is an accomplished businesswoman whose experience is in both in the corporate and the non-profit sector. She holds 3 degrees in business, a bachelor's degree, an honor's degree, and a graduate diploma in project management. Anna is the founder of Freedom for Humanity. Freedom for Humanity is a registered charity run by professionals from various fields as volunteers who are passionate about bringing about the change and ending modern-day slavery. Her passion is contributing to ending human trafficking and modern slavery. She's a resourceful person who has the ability to connect with the right people to create the impactful events. Another passion of Anna is to travel to different places, meet new people, and create an impact where she goes. Anna has partnered with large organizations and celebrities and has raised money and awareness towards the anti-slavery in Australia and Cambodia. Next speaker for today is Dr. Nivi Manokaran. Dr. Nivi Manokaran is a dermatologist from India. She works as a clinical in sexual and reproductive health and HIV medicine in Sydney. She's also a TEDx speaker, sex educator, and a domestic violence awareness advocate. She's also an ambassador of the Indian Women Empowerment. Please put your hands together. Our next speaker is a young 13-year-old girl, Sagrika Venkat, who is a young and talented dancer who's made her name for herself in the world of Bharatanatyam. Born and raised in Sydney, Sagrika was introduced to the dance form at the age of 4 by her mother Manjula Venkat, and since then she's been captivating audiences with her performances. Sagrika is already a seasoned performer with over 500 shows to her credit. She's been a finalist for the Youngest Citizen of the Year award in both 2020 and 2021, a testament to her impact on the arts community. Sagrika is also a gifted teacher and a choreographer just at the age of 13. She's currently training young girls in Bharatanatyam and is dedicated to passing on her knowledge and passion for the dance form. She is the youngest host presenter for Foxtel channel Aurora, where she showcases Indian Australian entertainment and sports. She's our youth ambassador for IWE, and she's just had her Arangratham, which is one of the highest levels of Bharatanatyam. Please put your hands together for all.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for coming this morning and spending some time with us, celebrating the International Women's Day and also talking all good and hearing all good about what women can do and what difference women can make. But just to start off the panel discussion, which of course is my privilege for this morning, I'd like to initiate this discussion by acknowledging the traditional owners of this land. And I thank them from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to be part of this culture, their beautiful land, and as a migrant to this country, the privilege to call this place my home. So I really thank the elders past and present, and I look forward to the ones who are emerging. So thank you very much. And to begin with, I would say, listening to all the nice things this morning, I would want to put one thing together, and that is education seems to be one of the key things. And I'm an educator for the last 30 years. Started my career way back in the 80s when probably some of you may not have even been born. I started teaching at that time at a very young age, in my 20s. And I'm now in my 60s and I'm still there educating. And I would say that that's the most single powerful tool that families can provide to close the gap. The inequities rise right from home. So always care for your girl child. Tell your girl children that you are precious. You are one amongst the best in the world, and treat them well with respect. They will learn to grow and see respect in themselves. Stand up for themselves, and I think when one woman stands, she stands for a host of others. So that's the most important, takeaway from the morning talks that I've had. And I will start our conversations today with our panelists here. It's a beautiful panel here, and you can see we've got people from all ages, stages, and walks of life. So to begin with, I think culturally we give the honor to the youngest person to talk first. So thank you, Sagrika, for coming, being that bold young person and a wonderful emerging young woman, I would say, as you are developing, but still in school. So it's just the most beautiful thing that one can think of, that a girl child right in school has done so much. She has achieved so much in life and is looking forward to, all because of that education, whether it is in dance, whether it is in culture, or whether it is at school. So thank you, Sagrika, and I'm sure, I'm not really sure where and when you were born. Like, were you born here, you migrated with your parents, but as a young person going to school. And I do hear this from many, conversational bits, anecdotes from, not only others, but also our own children who went to school here, that there are a lot of barriers that children from different cultures challenges faced in school. And there is a lot of inequity that they experience in school. So talk about any of those experiences of yours if you did experience that, and what did you do to overcome that?
So, thank you for having me here, and good morning everyone. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, and greetings to the Mayor of Shire Council, councillors, and distinguished guests. First and foremost, I would like to wish everyone a very happy International Women's Day, and thank you to Ms. Montero and Ms. Mansi Bhatia for making me and the Youth Ambassador of CMRC and IWE. I have been very fortunate enough to not have had any issues like this at school, but I do know some peers who have had to overcome some barriers. They will get bullied for their ethnicity, their race, and their culture. And to overcome this, they were very fortunate to have good teachers and counselors at school who they could approach, and those counselors and teachers would help them overcome the barriers and accept who they are at school. Thank you.
So Dr. Nini, tell us something about yourself and your personal journey, if you would like, and then probably I'll ask you a question.
Sure. So good morning everyone, and I'd like to thank CMRC and Mansi for this opportunity, and I'd like to wish all of you a very happy Women's Day. And I definitely need to thank all the men who are here supporting us today through all of this, because without you, this would be impossible. As introduced, I am a doctor in sexual and reproductive health and HIV medicine, and personally have lived experience both in domestic violence and abuse and a lot of things. As I came through my journey and as a culturally, women of color, I did realize that there's so many of us who are not able to even talk about topics that are so taboo in our culture. One of it definitely being sex, but the other most important thing being sexual abuse or domestic violence, which seems to happen everywhere, independent of your cultural background or your education or your social and economic status. So I'm out here in my platform at Taboos, which basically educates people about violence, and how I would like to put it as, sometimes we think that people who are well educated, who are doctors, who are working in a field of sexual and reproductive health, who probably see domestic violence day in and day out, do not tolerate domestic violence. So we think it doesn't happen to them. And that is mostly what I talk to people about, is that's not true. When it happens to you, it's different, and it is scary, and it definitely hits every individual the same way. And if it is someone who can actually communicate in today, like in this country, as an immigrant who speaks English quite fluently, is going through this, I can only imagine how hard it would be for immigrants for whom English is not the first language, and they are probably not financially independent, and it could be very scary and mortifying journey going through abuse and violence themselves. So I have chosen this platform on Taboo, where I educate women about not only sexual and reproductive health, but also about domestic violence, and provide support, and just give them the power to go and face what they do in day-to-day life. So that's pretty much me.
Thank you so much. I'd like to hear how you are using this platform to promote equity, harmony, and also an understanding of sexual and reproductive health. What message would you have for us, and how would we or could we address this in our own families? Because it's a very culturally taboo area as well. We talk about everything under the sun but sex with children. We don't want to. We think it's not the domain of the family. It's left to somebody, maybe the teachers, maybe someone at school, peers, some things which are not right, incorrect messages that children may take, and of course then shy away from having any conversations at home because it's not something that is open for discussion. So yes, how we can talk about the sexual and reproductive health with our children, within our families, that display harmony, because those topics can also cause a lot of conflict within the family.
Sure. Thank you. Like you mentioned, Dr. Narchal, I think teaching is prime. And like you said, we have to keep teaching in different aspects of life. And I think as a sex educator now, that is what I'm trying to tell people. So a few aspects of looking into this. I think schools are amazing these days where they do bring in sex education in primary school and in high school, which is just fantastic. But what's interesting that I thought amongst these is when we are doing sex education for children in primary school, they invite one parent to attend with the children. And I think that is fantastic because as a generation, especially for us who have come from a different country where sex is a taboo and almost doesn't exist, we haven't had any sex education, so it is a good opportunity for us to actually go and get sex educated along with our children. So I think that's fantastic, and that's a good approach because when you tell your child about sex education, we are also talking about safe space. We are talking about consent. We are talking about a whole range of things. We're just not talking about organs. So in that case, when you're having a parent sitting next to you, and topics like these or words like these, which are almost impossible to use at home, like you said, sex, or having a boyfriend, or going out on dates, or using a condom for that matter, I don't think we can talk this on a dining table. And I'm sure the mother or the parent is worried. I know that she's talking to this boy. I know she's going out, but how do I tell her she needs to use a condom? So I think that kind of a conversation is easily broken when you bring them to a forum like a sex education in school, where you have a parent, you have the child as well, and someone else is actually breaking the word condom in front of you. So everybody is put at ease. And I think that is what is important, is when you talk about things publicly or among everyone, and don't make a big fuss about it, that is when you kind of embrace it. And I think that's where embracing comes into place. And the child also knows that my mom was present during sex education. So it appears like she's aware of condoms, it appears like she's aware of sex, and it appears like she's aware of pleasure and consent and all of it. So it kind of gives them a safe space. So just in case something was to happen or in a non-consensual manner, they don't have to worry. They don't have to worry about who should I talk about this? How is my mom going to judge me? Or how is my teacher going to judge me? Because in that sex education, everybody was there and they are aware that everybody knows the word consent. So we are creating a safe space in that way. So I think we have to educate people as a community, not just children or at school as sex education, and we have to include all of us, whether it's an aunt, a parent, or a mom, and I think that is where the change is going to happen, when we're going to include everyone and make it dining table conversations.
Thank you so much. And of course, the good understanding of this bit is that normalizing the word sex around families is important, and nice to see where parents and children can be in the same room so that I know what she knows and she knows what I know. So it's all okay. We are in the same boat rather than I'm talking something which is not considered right. So yes, we've been in the same place, same situation. So thank you very much for that. Thanks. And I've met you on a number of occasions, and I do know you as a worker who is tirelessly into freedom for people who are into the modern slavery. And thank you for making your time this morning. Tell us about your journey and how you reached where you are today as an educator, promoter, also a fundraiser for activities around human trafficking, more so with children and women. So talk us, tell us, I really want all of us to know what you've gone through to be where you are and how you have come all this way.
Thank you, Dr. Montero, for your question. I would like to firstly thank Melissa really quite inspiring by Mayor Angelo. And he says, each time, a woman stands up for herself without knowing it, possibly without claiming it, she stands up for all women. Beautiful quote, and it's a fantastic occasion. So I think I just want to say that 15 years ago I was at a women's event, and I heard one of the speakers share how she was at the airport in Greece, and while she was in the airport, she found these missing posters of children all over the airport. And she made some inquiries and found they were being human trafficked. So for me, I was really moved, touched, and inspired when I heard that, and I immediately felt I wanted to support them. And so I put my details down to express my interest to volunteer. And then they didn't contact me. But 7 years ago, something happened to me, and I wanted to say, it's about, yes, I did go through something with an organisation, but I felt rather than standing sad and emotional, I channeled I got help, and counsellors, and I went to do courses, and I heard an inner voice that tells me to do events for charities to end human trafficking and slavery. And I was kind of unsure for like 12 months. But after that, I knew that was in the core of my heart. I could help people, and so I did support Anti-Slavery Australia. We did a gala for them at the Shire Hotel in the city. They do free legal services for victims of modern slavery in Australia. And so that was the first time that we did that. And I just wanted to encourage people, for us, it could be people that we know, we read about, or personal experience. Like, it's really important that we can, get help, and to not stay stuck, and to be able to help someone. Could be your neighbour. Just go to your neighbour and say, hey, I'm your neighbour. Is there anything I can do for you? Because I think sometimes it's the little things that we can do. Because sometimes we feel like, oh, this is, we read about it in the paper. We don't know what's happening in people's lives. But we can just, be kind. And so obviously my organisation, our mission is breaking slavery with education. And our vision is to create a world free of human trafficking and slavery. So we've actually partnered with university like Australian Catholic University. We're going to do scholarship programs for victims of modern slavery and human trafficking. And this is just the beginning, and I just encourage everyone to just help, do little acts of kindness and for yourself, because the world will be a better place.
Pankaj, you are the lucky last, right? And you are a person who has a very powerful medium of communication. You are a person from a media background. How have you used media to close the inequities on various fronts, and particularly for women? Your very recent media outputs have been strongly around women's topics, oriented towards women. We've seen one of your very, very beautiful, I would say, works, pretty much on the dowry, and I think many of us may have been present there at the time when we launched it. So thank you for all the work. So now tell us, and particularly to those people who may not have been there on that day and have missed that opportunity, how you are using media to close inequalities between men and women on various accounts.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Narchal. gratitude to CMRC, IITV, the Hills, sitting Shire, all the dignitaries, respected Mayor, Superintendent, Detective, Mansi, Melissa, and everybody here, and especially the women present on the premises. Happy International Women's Day yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Thank you for this opportunity to have me here. I studied professional filmmaking many years back, 17 years back, but never really pursued. Got sucked into corporate job and made that, the reason for my living, for last roughly about 17 years. But I only started doing my media work 5 years back after consistently and being, pestered by my wife, my better half, Montero, also the eye of TV victim in the domestic violence films. And it was she, who encouraged me to pick up the camera, reignite my passion, and start following what I truly enjoy doing most. So 5 years back, I made a short film on a father-daughter relationship, and since then, I have mostly done short films, 20-minute duration films on mental health awareness, family violence awareness, family relationships, especially focusing on women around me. Also because in my household, I'm just 25%, the time. So three women surrounded by 3 women. But I also noticed that during these 5 years, in my journey, in my media life, most of the time, there were women, walking up to me to come out, with a lot of courage, a lot of valor, and coming out and telling those very disturbing stories which may not have been, told otherwise. The domestic violence awareness films were also the brainchild of 3 women, Georgina, Rachna, and Nelly. And likewise, the other mental health awareness films that I've done for Harman Foundation, the Pink Umbrella, again, the women, behind these agencies, organizations, and institutes. I feel truly blessed that there are people, and especially women, powerful women, with thought, leadership, walking up to not just me, to everybody here present, to create those opportunities and create those awareness for others. Now, coming to the question, embracing equity and how media can influence that. Truly feel opportunities, resources, are available to everybody, but it is truly need-based, opportunities that one should be addressed, one should address. And embracing equity is not just equality, but equality with what you deserve or what is right for you. An example would be, there is a basket of fruits, you have an apple and a banana, and and a mother has 2 kids, she wants to, feed them equally. Now, if you look at equality, you may want to, feed the children with either an apple or a banana. That is what equality would look like. However, just imagine one of the kid is allergic to apple. Then what is equity here? The equity is offering an apple to the kid who can consume it, and banana to the other kid who is allergic to apple. So that is equity. That is equality here. So again, it's a very deep topic that one should understand and apply empathy and take this further forward. So role in media is exactly this. We address the issues as they should, and not based on perception, education, or how we have grown up thinking about it. We may have grown up with certain ideas. We may have grown up within certain boundaries. However, pushing that boundary is what I think any responsible person would do here, and I congratulate everybody here in the panel and here, on the ground who is doing that.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for your time and the, I would say, enlightening information that you have given us, and thank you for equity, equality. When we go back from here, I think each one of us should and will try and see in their own lives where there are gaps. So closing those gaps are important, and as I said at the start of this panel discussion, that it all starts at home. So try and see where you are able to close the gaps at home. Try and be mindful of those gaps, and I would say not unconsciously but consciously try and fill them up, recognizing that this is something that you have not done in the past. Recognizing things that we are not doing right is the step towards doing the right thing. And so therefore, if we want to really create a place in this universe where men and women and people from all cultures, ethnicities are equal and can experience the sense of equality, then I think probably giving an equal opportunity to shine, to address, to be what they are, who they are, speak the language that they want to speak, dress as they would like to, and express themselves in ways which seem to be the ways in which they want to express their own selves. And accepting that others can be different and understanding that difference and I would say celebrating that is what is going to close that gap as well. So thank you very much. And with this, I will kind of conclude our discussion up here on the panel. And thank you once again for being a wonderful audience. And thanks to all our special guests around the table who have taken the time. And thank you to our very lovely mayor who comes every time. He says he will stay for a short time. He was saying this in the morning, so I'm taking the opportunity to say that, but he stays back. So I think we are certainly able